High in the remote Peruvian Andes lies Las Bambas, a mine so daunting, so unforgiving, that even the world's most powerful Western mining giants simply gave up. Its name became synonymous with hardship and defeat. The altitude was punishing, the weather brutal, and the logistics nearly impossible. Even the toughest companies with decades of experience found themselves broken by the relentless challenges of this mountain stronghold. Xstrata and other industry titans poured billions into the project, determined to conquer the mountain. But in the end, they were defeated, not by competitors but by the mountain itself, which refused to yield. At 4,000 meters above sea level, the air is thin and unforgiving. Machines sputter and fail, and workers struggle just to breathe, let alone operate heavy equipment. Every task becomes a battle against nature. The logistics were a nightmare, getting massive equipment up treacherous mountain roads, hauling ore down, and constantly negotiating with wary local communities who watched every move with suspicion. Eventually, the West declared it impossible. Las Bambas was left behind, a silent monument to failed ambition and shattered dreams. Financial papers wrote it off, and industry experts called it a lost cause. Investors turned away, convinced the mountain would never be tamed. The so-called Hell Mine became a cautionary tale, a symbol of Western overreach, and a stark reminder of nature's ultimate dominance over human ambition. But the story wasn't over. Beneath the silence, something was stirring. Someone else, with a different vision and a longer game, was watching from across the world. They saw opportunity where others saw only defeat. The world thought the final answer had been given, that Las Bambas was finished. But the mountain's riches still called out to those willing to listen. Las Bambas was only sleeping, its vast copper reserves untouched, waiting for a new chapter to begin. Its true fate was yet to be decided. The world would soon learn that the story of Las Bambas was far from over. The mountain was waiting for a new challenger, someone bold enough to try again, and perhaps, finally, to succeed. In 2014, a Chinese consortium led by MMG stunned the world by offering a staggering $7 billion for Las Bambas, a copper mine nestled in the Peruvian Andes. This bold move sent ripples through the global financial community. The financial world was taken aback. Why would anyone pay such an exorbitant amount for a mine that the West had deemed unworthy and abandoned? It seemed like an unfathomable risk. Critics were quick to mock the move, dismissing it as reckless and labeling it a vanity project destined for failure. They saw it as a financial misstep, a gamble that would never pay off. But China wasn't thinking short-term. They had a vision that extended far beyond immediate profits. They saw more than just a mine. They saw a strategic asset, a direct line to one of the world's largest untapped copper reserves, a resource crucial for their burgeoning industries. While the West focused on immediate risks and potential losses, China calculated the long-term cost of not securing this vital resource. They understood the implications of global market dependence. For them, the price of dependence on volatile global markets was far greater than the $7 billion investment. It was a strategic move to ensure stability and control. This was not a mere gamble, but a calculated strategic investment in their future, a move to secure their industrial growth and economic independence. China was playing the long game, betting on decades, not just financial quarters. They were looking at a future where they could dictate terms. The world expected a spectacular failure, a collapse that would vindicate the skeptics, but China saw what others missed, a chance to control their destiny, to shape their future on their own terms. The question was, could they succeed where everyone else had failed? The stakes were enormous and the world was watching closely. The world watched, waiting with bated breath for the outcome of this audacious venture. Was this brilliance or folly? Only time would tell, as the clock ticked on this high-stakes endeavor. Why risk billions on copper? Because copper is the backbone of the modern world, and China's growth demanded more than anyone else's. Copper powers cities, electronics, cars, and the very infrastructure of modern life. China was building at a scale never seen before, cities, railways, power grids, all hungry for copper. But their domestic supply couldn't keep up. This left China vulnerable to price swings and political risks on the global market. For Beijing, this was unacceptable. Economic stability is national security. Owning Las Bambas meant independence from foreign markets and control over their own future. The West saw risk, China saw a lifeline. With over 10 million tons of copper reserves, Las Bambas could fuel China's growth for years. The price seemed high, but the alternative, dependence, was far costlier. For China, this was about survival, not speculation. The world saw a gamble. China saw necessity. The deal was done. After months of tense negotiations and careful planning, a new era was about to begin in the heart of the Andes. Now, China faced its greatest challenge yet, to conquer the infamous Hell Mine, a place where many had failed before. The challenges were brutal: thin air that made every breath a struggle, failing machinery, and relentless weather that battered both man and machine. Western equipment sputtered and stalled at 4,000 meters above sea level, unable to cope with the punishing conditions. The Andes threw every element at the operation: howling winds, blinding sunlight, sudden storms, and freezing nights. But China came prepared, with grit, determination, and cutting-edge technology designed for the world's toughest environments. They installed a private 5G network, enabling remote-controlled drilling rigs and trucks to operate with precision, even in the most dangerous zones. Workers could now operate heavy machinery from safe, climate-controlled control centers, reducing risk, fatigue, and exposure to the elements. AI-powered safety helmets constantly monitored workers' health and safety in real time, alerting supervisors to any danger. This high-tech approach turned the mine's harshest obstacles into manageable problems. Machines ran 24/7, undeterred by darkness or storms. Human risk was minimized and efficiency soared as automation took over the most dangerous tasks. China fused relentless hard work with relentless innovation, bringing together teams from both nations to solve problems side by side. They were rewriting the rules of high-altitude mining, setting new standards for what was possible in such extreme conditions. They weren't just surviving, they were mastering the Andes, turning adversity into opportunity. The Hell Mine was being transformed before the world's eyes. Technology became their edge, their secret weapon. The impossible was starting to look possible, and hope began to rise with every new sunrise over the camp. The world watched in awe as China's bold strategy unfolded, capturing headlines and sparking debate. The mountain was no longer unconquerable. Against all odds, the dragon in the Andes had arrived. Even with new tech, the mountain fought back. Machinery broke down, spare parts took weeks, and every fix required ingenuity. Chinese engineers became inventors, adapting equipment for the harsh conditions. But the biggest challenge wasn't mechanical, it was human. Local communities, scarred by past exploitation, protested and blocked roads, halting operations. The copper had to travel 400 kilometers through dozens of villages, each with its own demands. Technology couldn't solve this puzzle. The Chinese realized they needed a new approach, one built on respect and partnership. The future of the mine depended on winning trust. The real test had just begun. The Chinese operators shifted strategy: cooperation, not confrontation. They invested in local infrastructure, paving roads and building schools, clinics, and water systems. These weren't empty gestures, they transformed daily life for thousands. Environmental stewardship became a priority: reforestation, clean water, and advanced waste management. The company's actions built trust, showing that mining and responsibility could coexist. Protests didn't vanish, but the relationship changed. The mine became the region's largest employer, fueling economic growth and opportunity. Apurimac, once among Peru's poorest regions, began to prosper. By sharing the wealth, China solved the social puzzle that stumped its predecessors. They won hearts and minds, not with promises, but with action. The mine's future was now tied to the community's success. So, what did $7 billion buy? Las Bambas became one of the world's most productive copper mines, generating billions in annual revenue. China quickly recouped much of its investment, with decades of copper still in the ground. But the real value was strategic: a stable, secure supply of copper, immune to global market shocks. For Peru, the impact was transformative. Las Bambas accounts for 2% of national GDP. Regional poverty fell, a new middle class emerged, and public services improved. The mine pays hundreds of millions in taxes and royalties, fueling national development. What was once a symbol of failure became an engine of prosperity. The critics were silenced. The gamble paid off, spectacularly. China turned a Western write-off into a global success. The numbers told the story: vision, risk, and perseverance had won. The hell mine was now a gold mine. The world took notice. Las Bambas became a symbol of a shifting global order. The West's mockery turned to envy as China's strategy succeeded. Western companies, once dismissive, now saw Las Bambas as the model they missed. China controls a critical copper supply, while others scramble for resources. The long game paid off. China won, the West lost. The Chinese model, state backing, innovation, and community investment, proved powerful. As resources become harder to reach, this approach may be the only way forward. The West is now playing catch-up, rethinking its strategies. Las Bambas is a wake-up call, a lesson in vision and resolve. The laughter is gone, replaced by respect and anxiety. The hell mine is now a symbol of China's rise, and a reminder of what the West let slip away. Las Bambas is more than a mine. It's a glimpse into the future. The rules of global resource competition are changing. China, with its long-term vision and engineering might, is rewriting the playbook. Critical minerals are the new oil. Those who control them will shape the future. China's direct ownership model offers security the West can't match. The world must adapt. Collaboration between government and industry may be the new norm. The scramble for resources is just beginning. Who will win, the bold newcomer or the established powers? The answer will define the next generation. The final answer is still unwritten.